Most people think they already know the story of Switzerland. A small country, neutral, safe banks, rich people hiding money. It sounds simple, almost boring, but that story is wrong. Switzerland didn't become rich because it was neutral, didn't become wealthy after inventing banking secrecy. It definitely didn't get rich by staying out of history. Switzerland got rich by learning how to survive chaos and then quietly profit from it, while Europe was tearing itself apart with wars, revolutions, and collapsing empires. Switzerland wasn't just watching from the sidelines. It was positioning itself in a very specific place. Not at the center of power, not at the edge of conflict, but in the middle, where money, trust, and fear intersect. And once you see that pattern, Switzerland's wealth stops looking mysterious. It starts looking inevitable. To understand how this happened, you have to go back to a time when Switzerland wasn't rich at all. In fact, it was poor. Centuries ago, what we now call Switzerland was just a collection of isolated mountain communities. No empire, no coastline, no colonies, no natural resources worth fighting over. The land was harsh. Winters were long. Farming was unreliable. Most young men had no future beyond subsistence survival. In most parts of Europe, poverty like this led to rebellion, conquest, or collapse. In Switzerland, it led to something else: exporting people. Young Swiss men began leaving their villages to fight in foreign wars, not as knights or generals, but as disciplined foot soldiers. Over time, they developed a reputation across Europe. They were organized. They followed orders. They didn't panic. And most importantly, they were reliable. Kings didn't hire Swiss mercenaries because they were loyal to a flag. They hired them because they were loyal to contracts. Money flowed back into Swiss villages. Families survived. Local economies stabilized. And something deeper began to form. A culture that valued discipline, predictability, and reputation. This was Switzerland's first real economic model, not conquest. It's not ideology. Service. Providing something powerful people needed and doing it better than anyone else. As Europe descended into religious wars, dynastic conflicts, and political chaos, Switzerland adapted again. Instead of fighting in every war, it stepped back. This wasn't moral idealism. It was strategic realism. Wars were destroying countries, currencies, and institutions. But the spaces between wars, trade routes, negotiations, storage, logistics, were becoming more valuable than ever. By staying neutral, Switzerland made itself useful to everyone. Merchants could move goods through Swiss territory safely. Diplomats could negotiate without fear. Money could sit without being seized or devalued. Neutrality created trust. Trust attracted capital, and capital, once it arrives, tends to stay. This is where most people misunderstand Swiss neutrality. It wasn't about avoiding conflict. It was about monetizing stability in a world addicted to instability. By the time modern banking emerged, Switzerland was already wealthy. Banks didn't create Swiss riches. They preserved and amplified them. While other countries faced revolutions, confiscations, and sudden rule changes, Switzerland offered something incredibly rare: boring consistency. No sudden nationalizations. No collapsing institutions. No unpredictable policy swings. If you stored money in Switzerland, it stayed there. That reputation became priceless during the 20th century. World War I shattered Europe. Currencies inflated into nothing. Borders were redrawn almost overnight. Switzerland survived intact. Suddenly, everyone needed what Switzerland had: a stable currency, secure vaults, reliable financial services. Gold, capital, and contracts flowed in. Switzerland became Europe's financial shock absorber. But the most controversial chapter came next. During World War II, Switzerland was surrounded by Nazi-controlled territory, yet it was never invaded. Not because it was untouchable, but because it was useful. Swiss banks held gold. Swiss railways moved goods. Swiss industry supplied precision tools. Some of that gold was stolen. Some of it was looted. Some of it came from atrocities history still struggles to process. Switzerland didn't fire many bullets, but it kept the system running. This was the moral cost of neutrality. And the financial payoff was enormous. When the war ended, Europe was physically destroyed. Infrastructure was gone. Economies were shattered. Governments were bankrupt. Switzerland had none of those problems. Its factories still worked. Its currency was strong. Its institutions were trusted. While others rebuilt from rubble, Switzerland expanded. Over the next decades, Swiss wealth didn't explode, it compounded. Quietly, methodically, banks grew, insurance expanded. Precision manufacturing flourished. Education systems produced highly skilled workers: watches, pharmaceuticals, machinery, finance, all built on the same foundation: trust. Every crisis elsewhere reinforced the same pattern. Money fled instability and flowed into Switzerland. Over time, the system became self-reinforcing. Safety created trust. Trust attracted capital. Capital strengthened stability. A loop that fed itself for generations. But no system is immune to pressure. By the late 20th century, the world began pushing back. Bank secrecy came under attack. Governments demanded transparency. Tax laws tightened. Many assumed this would end Switzerland's dominance. It didn't, because by then the wealth wasn't just sitting in bank accounts. It was embedded in supply chains, expertise, intellectual property, and institutional credibility. Switzerland adapted again. This is where the story stops being about Switzerland alone, because the same pattern is happening again. Right now, global money still behaves the same way it always has. It doesn't chase ideals, it doesn't chase morality, it doesn't even chase innovation first. It chases safety. In a world of rising debt, geopolitical tension, sanctions, and inflation, capital is looking for places that feel boring, predictable, and reliable. Countries and regions today are trying to replicate the Swiss model: strategic neutrality, stable regulation, financial intermediation, quiet competence. The tools have changed, the speed has increased, but the logic is identical. Instability creates fear. Fear moves money. Money reshapes power. Switzerland understood this centuries ago. It didn't dominate through armies. It didn't conquer land. It dominated systems. And systems reward patience. That may be the most important lesson of all. Wealth doesn't always come from growth or innovation. Sometimes it comes from being the place everyone runs to when everything else feels unsafe. Switzerland's rise wasn't heroic. It wasn't clean, and it wasn't accidental. It was strategic. It shows us that stability itself can be a weapon. That being the middleman can be more powerful than being the strongest player. And that the biggest fortunes are often built quietly, while everyone else is distracted by noise. As the world enters another era of uncertainty, money will move again. The real question isn't where it will go. It's who has spent decades earning enough trust to catch it.